Top 5 SEC quarterbacks. Yesterday we did Big 12. Today we're doing SEC. Monday we'll do ACC, which actually might be the easiest one to do because they've got the most returning guys. Garrett and I will have a long debate over who is number one in that. And I will be willing to cede it, but he's going to have to come with evidence. But Garrett did help me out with this today. The SEC is interesting because when we went to the Big 12 yesterday, it was more of like, you know, putting somebody, like you had 6 that you knew for sure, and then others that weren't coming back. The SEC is in a lot of flux. I mean, the 2 best teams year in and year out, Alabama and Georgia, are both in, competitions right now. So we don't know who that person's going to be. So to put them on this list, I can't do that yet. Now, I'm fully willing to amend this later on if we're on December 1st.
Oh, no, this is prediction time.
One of those dudes, but I don't know who it's going to be.
All right, well, one thing, Craig saved you yesterday from getting hammered by Texas Tech fans by bringing up Tyler Shuck.
Yeah, well, look, Tyler Shuck, confirm, was on the list for a minute.
That was my fault, probably. I said, because I wasn't sure with Morton.
Did you talk him off
I
the
did,
list?
because I know some people want Morton to be the guy, and I wasn't certain. There's certain injuries in place, but yeah.
So
there's a lot of Tech fans today who are watching this because of the Grant McCasland news. So you better.
I might have
watch
upset
yourself.
them.
Yeah. So I will tell you that the guys that did not make this list are KJ Jefferson, did not make the list, and we talked about it quite a bit, and Spencer Rattler did not make the list.
What?
Yes, Spencer Rattler did not make the list. So
was anyone playing quarterback better than him at the end of the year?
Well, but like I'm kind of like, and I know they're gonna. We debated it. I'll get to it. Number 5, Spencer Sanders, more skins on the wall than most in the SEC coming back right now, and if he's healthy and does in fact win that job at Ole Miss, which I see no reason why he wouldn't, then he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league. But again, for him, it's about health and consistency and doing that over the long haul, another season in a row. Last year he wasn't healthy, and now he's in a new spot.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I'm going over in my head. He's got experience, but I mean, I think the big thing that you said though is if he wins that job, like he might not even win the job at Ole Miss. That's still to be determined. But yeah, I mean, he's a fantastic athlete when he's at his best, but I don't feel like we've seen that in a really long time because of injuries, because of whatever's going on with Gundy and just fits there. Clearly there was, something amiss in Stillwater last year, whether it was health or otherwise, given the mass exodus of players. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, he's maybe not the starter, but I would think that he's probably got the upper hand. I don't know that, but I would assume that.
Yeah. Number 4, and the bottom part of the list is what I think is the most controversial. Joe Milton. Look, he's got experience. He's been a starter. He's been not a starter. He didn't win the job at Tennessee over Hendon Hooker, and Hendon Hooker turned out to be really good and might be kind of hitting his stride right now as he heads into the NFL. Hopefully he can get healthy quickly and we can see what kind of NFL quarterback he can be. But this guy has a cannon that is unrivaled, and I think that in the offense that he's going to be in will be ridiculously effective and be a nice bridge before they get to Nico Imaliava there in Knoxville. But also, again, debating these 2 guys and Spencer Rattler was kind of tough, but I think I went maybe because I was really impressed with his win over Clemson, maybe more than Spencer Rattler's win over Clemson. I don't know, but I went with Joe Milton here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hope for him. His dude's got a cannon. That's for daggum sure. He's got some intangibles, and obviously there's huge expectations with Hendon Hooker, but it does seem like it's probably going to be a Baylor situation where just plug in a quarterback, and as long as they're pretty good, then they'll thrive in that offense. I see why there's a lot of anticipation for him. And we know waiting his time after Georgia Tech to get this opportunity and be the guy. I think that, that'll be a fun storyline to watch.
He was at Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Got a gun, right?
Yeah.
The issue was, can he hit the target? And I like what I saw when I saw him playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 3, Will Rogers at Mississippi State. Obviously in that offense put up a ton of yards, but maybe kind of falls below the radar a lot of this because, again, that's not the glitz and glam program, and we'll see, what Mississippi State looks like this year after the passing of Coach Leach. But I really do enjoy Will Rogers, and he runs that offense very, very effectively and is pretty dangerous in it.
Yeah, you should have corrected me. I don't know why I said Georgia Tech. Michigan is where he was before. Just correct me if I'm wrong on something
Joe
like
Milton does sound a lot like
Didn't I
Joe
say Michigan?
Hamilton. No,
That's what I was thinking of.
Joe
Yeah.
Hamilton, who
Just correct me
I
next
like
time. But
Joe
that's who I was
Hamilton.
thinking. It was Joe Hamilton. But yeah, obviously was at Michigan. So yeah, forget what I said.
Where's Jackson Dart?
Jackson Dart's at Ole Miss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So I had to take him off this list because
somebody asked.
Like I
what
said,
blanket.
Spencer
Yeah.
Sanders hasn't won that job yet. But
but they went out and got 2 quarterbacks that could
That's
beat out
pretty good.
Jackson Dart. And, I mean, it tells me what, like, if the coach isn't comfortable enough with that, then I'm not going to put him on my list either. Number 2.
Why can't they both be in the top 5?
Because I don't know who the starters would be. Number 2, Jayden Daniels at LSU.
Well, Garrett tried to make him one.
Number 1 in my heart.
Yeah. But no, Garrett was reasonable about this. We talked about it.
We did.
We talked about it. But the way that he elevated that offense last year, when at first, early on, it looked like the only play that offense had was 3rd and long, everybody's dropping back, and Daniels is fast enough to get 17 yards on 3rd and 16. But it was so much more than that. Once they had some cohesiveness and some chemistry, he really started doing a lot of things and made everybody around him better, which is what the value of a starting quarterback is. And another year in that system under his belt, where now it won't be like, let's just throw it to the wall and see what sticks. I think Jayden Daniels is going to be fantastic this year for LSU. And the sky's the limit. I can't wait for that first game where he goes 0-1, but it'll still be fun. Mm-hmm. To see how it goes down.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that's as good of a game as it was last year. But yeah, I thought he got extremely better as the season went along and got way more comfortable and became way more of just a playmaker. He fit in nicely and really evolved as the year went on and had a great season. So yeah, I think there's a lot of optimism in Baton Rouge because they got off to a quicker start than they probably anticipated. And now here's some expectations because you did get off to that start that, you weren't necessarily expecting right away. So certainly he plays a big part in that, if not the biggest part in that. And, yeah, it was fun watching him get better.
All right, so I'm interested here. A lot of people are waiting for this one. You might have a landslide of negativity. Who's
number one?
Yeah.
Devin Leary. Devin Leary's number 1.
Yeah.
This is. I know he hasn't played at Kentucky yet, but he was probably the best quarterback in the ACC going into last year. Then he had the injury. NC State is an offense that's not really going to showcase, maybe all that you can do as a quarterback. But Devin Leary is he is out of the catalog. If you were picking prototype quarterback, he is really, really good. I think the Kentucky offense will be better for him to show kind of maybe what his full skill set is. I think I actually would have graded him better than Will Levis last year, and that guy could wind up being a top 5 pick this year and is going to be a first-round pick no matter what.
So who's better? You said who's better than Levis? Is he better than Levis, you think?
I think he's better than Levis. And so I think this is going to be really good for Mark Stoops and Kentucky to get Devin Leary. I think Brennan Armstrong going from Virginia to take his place at NC State is going to be good for Brennan Armstrong. But ultimately, I think Devin Leary here made a good decision to kind of, spread his wings, go against, the SEC competition, being an offense that maybe is a little bit more equipped to his skills. Dave Doran's doing a great job at NC State, but they are a team that runs on more efficiency than anything. Like, that's the impressive thing about NC State. You watch them, they're just efficient. I wouldn't call them prolific week to week, but efficient. You don't always have to be prolific. Efficiency is great, and that's what Dave Doran does there at NC State. So Devin Leary, number 1.
P. Duke 68 nailed it. He said you're going to pick Devin Leary. So and you did. And that was before you said it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hope for him, and obviously he was a highly coveted transfer, and you love the offense that they run there for quarterbacks. So there's a lot of reasons to believe that should work out really well. How high does it take the Wildcats? Clearly it's a tough task given what their surroundings are. You could be really stinking good and still have 3 or 4 losses on your plate because of just who you're playing. And that is the reality of, the SEC and the depth. But, that gives Kentucky a great leg up and makes what could have been like a rebuilding type year because you're in the old days, you're having to go with a freshman, a guy who'd been in waiting and all that. And this, you just go straight to Devin Leary. That's a nice little solution to any problems, and that's the magic of the transfer portal right there. So, yeah, Kentucky loses a guy who's going to be hearing his name called pretty early in the draft and gets a guy who I don't know, when all said and done, might get his name called even earlier in the draft, depending on how the next, wave of quarterbacks performs. But, yeah, he makes them exciting for sure.